Good to see you again, man.
It's
been a few months since we've been able to get in here.
It has been.
How have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty busy. Been obviously building this new space, so it's been a long year, but finally to a point where I'm pretty happy where I'm at and kind of get things going and rolling.
Tell us about what we're sitting under right now.
So obviously we're, people will call it a cyc wall, an infinity wall, cyclorama. Basically all it is just a white room. All the corners have been curved so that you don't have a visible edge anywhere, which creates a kind of just like an open space. Perfect for video work, perfect for photo work. And then I have a light bank that I built. It's a 12 foot by 30 foot light bank, fully automated. So I can control it, I can tip it, pitch it, move it in and out, so I can put the light exactly where I want it. I'm using 6 AB 800 strobes in there, controlled on 3 separate channels through my Cyber Commander, so I can actually adjust the power levels at them, which is really nice to have that control off my camera versus having to either set it on high or whatever and adjust aperture and all that kind of stuff to get it. So it gives me a little bit more versatility. And then I incorporated some LED lights into it to be able to do video work. Basically 40 foot wide, 35 feet deep, 21 foot ceilings, pretty large space to be able to do, no beams, no nothing. There's a lot of space in here to be able to do a lot. I can, I've had a furniture company bring in 4 or 5 beds in here, and they can set them all at once. So I can take one shot of all of them versus being stuck in this little studio, take one image of every single bed and have the composite all together. You can build sets in here. You can create bedroom suites. You can do a whole Christmas setup in here. You can come in here, build a whole gym if you wanted to, and then be able to record video or film on it. So it's kind of a multi kind of purpose where it's for me, but I want to be able to rent it out to some production companies, that kind of stuff, to maybe offset some costs and just kind of get the word out there that there's something like this. Been doing a lot of research, been talking to a lot of the video guys. Pretty much been told there's nothing like it in the state, which is kind of cool. And then I think there's one in Seattle, and there might not be anything else in the Northwest from what I've been told so far. So I kind of feel like I definitely have a niche. So now I'm just kind of get it out there so that people in the Northwest, if they don't have access to like this, know of me and hey, this is a cool place they can use for their high-end stuff rather than having to go down to California and Texas where they're abundant everywhere down there.
So I think one thing that a lot of aspiring or up-and-coming car photographers are curious about and really want to know is how are you getting access and how are you consistently getting these incredible cars? Last time we were here, we had the Porsche 959.
So today we have a 1988 Porsche 959. Basically, when it came out in the 80s, Porsche was pretty much one of the first cars that hit over 200 miles an hour, has magnetic suspension on it, pretty much has so much technological advancements in it that no car pretty much ever had at that point. Car and Driver back in 88 basically dubbed it the most technologically advanced car of the century.
Today we have
brand new 2017 Ford GT is coming in later. Right now behind us is a 70s Datsun 510 that a friend of mine, he's pretty much had this car, oh man, I can't remember, I think it's about 20 years. Started out as a race car. He used to race it in Laguna Seca, all those tracks, and about 10 years ago he decided to make a race car, or make a show car out of it, and here we are now. So a lot of that is when I first kind of got into cars, obviously kind of, got into, a lot of car clubs, whether on Facebook or just like forums back then when we used to have them before Facebook groups, we used to have forums. So, I was on a lot of those, got to meet people in there. Biggest thing I think that's really helped me is locally we have 2 dealers, Lupo Motors, which is kind of like a private dealer. You can bring in high-end cars to him on consignments. If you have the money and go to him, hey, I want you to find me a LaFerraria, he'll find you a LaFerraria. So it's a dealer, but it's like on a private level where basically if you want a high-end car, he'll find it for you. So I kind of got connected with him and just have access to some of the cars that he brings in, either he sells or some of his clients, and every once in a while bring them in here. Recently, which was my kind of a bucket list item for me, was a Lamborghini Countach. He had one for sale that a client of his brought in a consignment. We got it in here to get him some real nice photos, and then, that was like a dream come true for me because I grew up with that car. That's like top of my list for the coolest car I ever wanted to get in here.
Bedroom poster car.
Oh, beyond that, yeah, exactly. So the only thing I can add now with it is if I get a Testarossa and can get both of them in here, I'd be good to go. But so finding people like that has really helped, because then he obviously has a lot of more high-end clientele, which have a lot of high-end cars or collections, and if you get in with somebody like that, that helps kind of get you the credit. There's another guy locally, Max, who has modern classics, same kind of thing, but he's on a little bit different end where he mostly imports more of the older classic Italian cars. Alfa Romeos, he's a huge Alfa Romeo guy, a lot of Porsches. He's got in some Renaults and stuff like that. I have no problem shooting what people would call just basic tuners, or just so people think, oh, I don't have a show car. It's like, you don't have to have a show car to bring it in here. I've had the other day I had a 1924 Model T in here, and it's he rides it every single day. He's the president of the Western Idaho Model T Club, and last weekend they had, I think, 20 some of the guys drove up to Silver City, which is a pretty treacherous drive, and they did a bunch of Model Ts.
That's so cool.
So you don't have to have a beautiful, $1 million car to get cool shots of it.
I wanted to talk to you about one of your other subjects that you shoot a lot, and that's dance.
Yes.
Tell us about that. How did that kind of...
I've always, dancers, I've always, been in kind of, they're just amazing what they can do with their bodies and just the fluidity and everything. And about probably 2 or 3 years into doing automotive stuff, I started getting more and more interest in doing portraits. I was at that time working at the mall, and there's a Idaho Camera, which is a kind of local camera place here in town. The manager at that time was like, hey, you want to talk to Brent? He's basically our in-house portrait photographer. Started talking to him. We kind of got together, and he wanted to have some coffee. We started chatting, and he ended up becoming a really good friend of my mentor. He's mentored me a lot, and it kind of really critiqued me really, really hard along the way, and I definitely give him huge props where I am right now because of that. But through getting into portraits, whether it was just model work or families or whatever, I met a couple of dancers that, I got acquainted to through some people I knew, and I'm like, yeah, I want to shoot dance, be kind of fun. It create some really cool images, hooked from day one, and just grew with that. With what I do as far as the lighting styles of the dance, I feel like I've kind of done a little different than most people do. I use a lot of really moody lighting. Obviously in here with the light bank, creates some really awesome images. I do flower dance. I have a little rain machine that I built so I can do rain dances, and I love doing on location stuff with dancers too. There's a very beautiful thing about shooting dance. They have so much emotion and just that raw passion that you can just, a simple move, a simple pose that they do, a leap, it just has so much energy and passion in it that it's very addictive to shoot, and I just absolutely love shooting dance too. So it's kind of like cars and dance, and I can't pick one. People have asked me like, why don't you just shoot one? It's like I can't.
All right, so I think we're going to jump into it. As you mentioned earlier, we have the 2017 Ford GT, which is, I'm a supercar fan, but holy crap, that car is insane.
Oh, it's pretty much, Ford's flagship supercar right now.
So crazy. Yeah. So Rag Company's getting that washed up right now. They should be finishing up here shortly. And then we're
going to pull it in here. We're going to do basically, obviously, all the high key shots, we'll be doing a full, pretty heavy, intensive photo shoot with it. It's a $475,000 car. They built that car to be a driver's car. They didn't want it to be LaFerrari or an Aventador where somebody basically gets it because it's a high-end car and it automatically goes into their showcase and sits in that showroom the whole time. Yeah. They want it to be a street car. So that's part of the reason why they did that. They're really, really hard to get. They're really stringent on who got it, and the people who have it, they use it for what it was designed for, to be thrashed on the road. And they're beautiful, awesome car. Carbon fiber, everything on it. They're just amazing, amazing cars. So really looking forward to this one. It's been about a 5-6 month process to get it in here. So I'm really psyched to get it finally in.
We talk about how long did it take you to build this place?
About a year. So when I started with the downstairs and upstairs, had that done about 3 or 4 months, and then we had to wait about 3.5 months to get our C of O to be able to start out here. and then the warehouse part was about 2 or 3 months. This box is like I think my fourth version of it, maybe about a month or so to build as well too. So it's been about a year total to get to where I'm at right now. Just smile. I'm Bart Cepek. I'm an automotive and dance photographer, and I've just been framed. Sweet.